Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good night, I don't know, but welcome. Welcome to episode number 5 of the Microsoft Partner Quick Bytes. Before we start, allow me to thank our sponsors, which is Ingram, SmartWorks, TD Synnex, also Arrow, Copaco and Clear Media. Thank you very much, dear sponsors. Without you, these sessions wouldn't be possible. Now, let's get started. This is episode number 5, and the topic of episode number 5 is cloud and AI platforms. It's about the playbook. It's about the playbook that discusses everything you need to know as a Microsoft partner related to, at the end of the day, Azure. So let's get started. There is a lot to cover here. To frame a little bit everything, let me explain a little bit what the Partner Playbook is, and most importantly, where you will find the Partner Playbook or where you can find all Partner Playbooks, because actually we have 3 big solution areas or cloud solution areas, and per cloud solution area there is a Partner Playbook. Now here you see the 3 cloud solution areas. In the previous Quick Bytes, number 3 and number 4, we discussed actually the AI Business Solutions solution area. And in this recording, in this episode, episode number 5, we discuss actually the Cloud and AI Platforms Partner Playbook. So everything related to Azure, as you will see. In the next episode, we'll discuss the last playbook, the one fully dedicated to security. So stay tuned, but for now, let's zoom into the Cloud and AI platform. Now, you could download indeed the playbook by following the link I just showed you on the slide, but there is another, maybe easier to remember way to get the playbooks. Simply go to partner.microsoft.com, click Partnership, click Solution Areas, which brings you to this website, and on that website you'll find actually 3 links, and the middle one is the one that leads to this playbook, the one related to cloud and AI platforms. And as part of this playbook you will see again a structure just like in the 2 other playbooks, which looks like this. Actually you have basically 3 or 4 main topics. The first topic is all about the business overview, in this case related to AI and cloud platforms. Then we'll discuss the opportunity from a partner perspective, also from a customer perspective, and we go into the strategy, the partner go-to-market strategy, including all specific solution plays and scenarios. And you will find in the playbook actually nice overview. It's like a big encyclopedia about all the resources, all the winning formulas, all the skilling guiding, many things that are important for you to be successful. Part 3 is about investments. What I mean here, the incentives. That's what Microsoft invests in us partners. And we will discuss indeed, in this case, all incentives available to us as a partner active in Azure, let's say. And then last but not least, how to build your practice. What are the resources, what you can do, what is the path to follow, what is the journey, many more will come by the end of this session. Voila, this is the structure of also this recording of this episode, and let's get started with the business overview. Now the business overview is about 4 slides actually, and it starts by explaining that the cloud and AI platforms solution area is actually what used to be 3 separate solution areas or cloud solution areas in the past. In the past, in fiscal year 25, we had actually the Azure Data and AI solution area. We had the most right one on the slide, the Azure Infrastructure solution area, and we had one fully dedicated to digital app and innovation. So they combined these 3 separate solution areas in one new big solution area, and they renamed it to Cloud and AI Platforms. That's the very first thing that changes compared to last fiscal year. Now, if you zoom into this picture that comes back over and over when we talk about the solution areas, And what you see here, for instance, is what I explained in the previous episodes related to AI business solutions, which is about Microsoft 365 and about Dynamics 365, AI workforce and AI business process, is actually what you see here. Comes with two priorities. The one is about Copilot, of course, Copilot and agents, and the other one is about the core execution of Microsoft 365 and Dynamics 365. And again, the same thing you see for this specific cloud and AI platforms solution area. In that specific solution area, you see actually the combination of three previously known solution areas, and they are now Azure Infrastructure, Digital App Innovation, and Digital AI. So they simplified it. What you will see actually later in the session is that actually the solution plays nicely map to what we used to know as solution areas in the previous fiscal years, but more on that yet later. Now, the priorities related to cloud and AI platforms, first of all, is of course this one, migrations, and migrations, typically migrate to modernize, as previous year, so that's not new. But the other one is quite new. It's about frontier AI solutions, or what we tend to call frontier firms. And I'm not going to go into detail here, but what Microsoft means when we talk about frontier companies or frontier firms is companies, organizations that are using AI everywhere, that have it integrating artificial intelligence absolutely everywhere in the organization, where you come to see an organization where people and agents come to work with each other, where they collaborate, where agents become almost as important as the humans, and they really collaborate as almost peers. Where you see that intelligence becomes something you get out of a tap, like you get beer out of a tap in a cafe. Intelligence in the future is something that you will simply get by hiring an agent, by using an agent, by consuming intelligence provided to an agent. And that's typically what you will come to see more and more in what they call these frontier firms, where every employee at the end of the day will become a boss of one and probably many agents. You as an employee will be managing agents that will do all the work for you, and each agent comes with its own intelligence, each comes with its own capabilities, and you will be using them and guiding them and to help you. Where the organization is not static anymore from an organizational perspective, it is becoming really more and more dynamic, and where focus is very much on upskilling and on completely new roles in the organization. So that could easily be another quick bite session that we might do in the future, defining a frontier solution, defining a frontier firm actually. And we typically will use all the things we will discuss today as part of the cloud and AI platforms to create these capabilities, to create these frontier AI solutions, to actually help the creation of what Microsoft loves to call frontier firms. So that is certainly interesting to keep in mind. The priorities related to Azure in a way is frontier AI solutions and migrations and modernizations. Now, as I explained in previous fiscal years, we had not only three solution areas at the end of the day related to Azure, but we also had, as you can see here, many solution plays. And what you nicely see is that they combine all these 11 solution plays into actually 3 solution plays in this fiscal year. And there you see them. It's all about infrastructure, migrate and modernize your digital estate in a way to Azure. It's about innovate with Azure AI, apps and agents, of course. And it's about the data platform using Azure as actually your data platform. So keep that in mind. In a way, it got much more simple. At a high level, you have cloud and AI platforms, and then you have actually 3 solution plays. And what is then the execution strategy of Microsoft, depending on actually the market segment? we are really focusing, most of us, on SMB. And for SMB, as you can see, all three solution plays are important. However, the last one, the one related to creating AI applications and creating agents, is important, but Microsoft is typically only discussing it when talking to software development companies, when talking to independent software vendors. Not that it's not important for all of us, but that's typically how Microsoft will focusing related to that specific solution play. The other two, Unify your data platform and actually migrate and modernize your estate to Azure, are absolute key focus areas when Microsoft talks, and you talk most probably to small and medium businesses. Not that agents are not important, but remember, agents is actually very much covered as part of the other solution area we discussed in episode number 3 and episode number 4, the AI business solutions. Keep that in mind. So that's certainly something to remember. So that is a business overview. And then the second section, the biggest section, as you will see also as part of this episode, is all about defining opportunity and most specifically discussing all the solution plays, the go-to-market resources and the win formulas and many more of the things that you will care about in order to be successful leveraging Azure at your customer. First of all, let's discuss the opportunity. And also there are 5 slides, but also there, this slide is actually not new. It's actually a slide that they used also in the last fiscal year. It's all about AI transformation. They tend to talk in the previous fiscal year about the area of artificial intelligence. They are replacing that with the title here, AI transformation. This is actually the time to do AI transformation, to help organizations to transform and leverage more artificial intelligence in order to become a company that you could define or as a frontier firm. And it's all about the foundation, and the foundation is enriching employee experience. So making sure that you use artificial intelligence like Copilot and like agents on top of Copilot in your own organization and in the organization of customers to enrich the employee experience, which is actually the foundation of the end, at the end of the day, of actually creating better customer engagement experiences. And that's the other thing. AI transformation is not only about enriching employee experiences, it's also about reinventing the way customers experience your business. And that typically requires you to reshape the business processes. Not only how people interact with the technology, how they become more productive at a personal level, at the people teams level, but more and more at a business process level. So reshape, rethink your business process. And all that will typically help you as a company, but most importantly, help you to help customers to bend the curve on innovation. Actually, what I mean with the curve, a curve typically goes like this, right? And by bending, we mean to make it more steep. And that's what we try to do with artificial intelligence. And that's what our opportunity is as a partner leveraging the Azure platform in this case. Now, what customers tell us, all what you see on the slide, but if I can take 3 of them, it's all about AI. It's all about AI transformation and make it a trustworthy transformation. So that's what you see here. That typically requires us to create a really solid, sound data platform. So that is clearly a big opportunity. And of course, when we talk about a data platform, it's clear that we need to migrate to the cloud. We need to bring data. We need to bring actually everything as much as we can to the cloud, migrate to the cloud in order to modernize all the experiences as an employee, as a customer, and at the end of the day, also the business processes. And that's, I'm just taking 3 of them to make my point here. And clearly the opportunity is big, and we are not just starting with that. The platform Azure with GitHub Azure and Azure AI Foundry is already quite successful. It's a nice foundation to build upon to be even more successful ourselves. And this is also interesting. Clearly, we are in a very interesting position as a partner of Microsoft. And it is happening now. Already now, what this study reveals is that 63% of all organizations are, I'm not sure, are becoming proactive in how they talk and how they use and how they start to plan their usage of AI. So it's not that we need to evangelize a lot of stuff still. I think we are already in a phase where customers are demanding and asking us to help them to make it real, to help them to become a frontier firm at the end of the day. And this one is also interesting. It clearly specifies, first of all, in the middle, that as a services organization, you typically earn a lot of money. For every dollar Microsoft earns, you earn $8.45. But the point here is, once you start to leverage AI to create agents, to create software at the end of the day, to create custom solutions specific to the business of the organization, leveraging Azure, you will typically even earn more. And that's the point that they try to make in this actually slide. Very nice. Now, if we go a little bit further on the topic, there are, of course, a solution plays. And again, the solution plays, there are three of them. The first one is migrate, modernize your digital estate to Azure. It's all about agents and AI apps. And the other one, of course, is about data platform. And remember, the middle one is important, but it's the one that Microsoft typically uses to focus and to talk to software development companies, less to, let's say, system integrators. But the Unify your data platform, clearly, and the Migrate and Modernize are the actually most important ones from a Microsoft perspective when talking to us, most of us system integrators, partners, resellers of Microsoft. Now, if we zoom into these three solution plays, Microsoft discusses each of these topics from an opportunity perspective, from a partner profitability perspective, from a win formula perspective, and of course from a demand generation perspective. So how can I generate demand for the data solution we built? And of course from a skilling perspective. Let's start with customer opportunity, just like before, specific to modernize and migrate your digital estate. Again, what it shows here, if you do so, it's interesting to keep in mind that already now the customers agree that in order to be successful with AI, you need to be in the cloud. And remember what I said, the data needs to be in the cloud in order to actually create these trustworthy AI experiences. And that's the point we see here. It's not that we still need to convince customers about why they need to migrate. They clearly see that migrating is absolutely a no-brainer, especially if you want to become a frontier firm. And again, I'm not going to repeat, the platform is already successful. We can nicely build upon this one. And from a data perspective, also there, if you would have your doubts, make sure that you start to use Fabric, for instance, and make sure that you make Fabric part, to give an example, to make Fabric part of one of your solution offerings, because clearly that's also a big opportunity, revenue opportunity for us going forward. So that's about the customer opportunity, and of course very related, the partner opportunity. Only specific slide is available for migrate and modernize your estate. Again, the same point. If you do migrations and modernizations, if you have these kind of opportunities, and you have them, well, if you bring into the mix AI transformation, again, your revenue growth will be higher. If you are going to do migration and modernization just because you need to bring things to the cloud, because many reasons, for instance, security, that might be a good reason, well, that would be nice. But if you bring AI transformation in the mix, the projects and the margins will be much bigger, and the revenue, for sure, the growth will be twice as big as if you would be focusing just on the traditional reasons why you will want to go to the cloud. Keep that in mind. So that's also a very interesting one. And then the win formulas. Let's start with the migrate and modernize your estate. The first one win formula. As you can see, there are actually 5 slides on it, but it's an easy story. Let me explain. The first slide is actually, in the playbook, is actually explaining that there are 2 formulas for SMB. The first one is all about the traditional scenarios like migrating Windows, migrating SQL Server from hardware actually to the cloud. And the second one is about VMware. We certainly have a lot of VMware everywhere. And migrating VMware to the cloud, both to IaaS and PaaS, but also to Azure VMware solution, that's also one of the solutions available in Azure, is absolutely an opportunity Microsoft sees for SMB. The last one is very related to Oracle and SAP. You might see these opportunities in SMB, but certainly not the focus for SMB from a Microsoft perspective. So that's what you see already here. The first one, the green one, maps to the second page related to the win formulas, and the second one to the second. See, and if I zoom into it, you see this slide. And again, as always, Microsoft gives us information, gives us what to do in each of the stages of the MSAM, the Microsoft Customer Engagement Methodology. And from a listen and consult step, you typically will use, and I will explain that later as part of this recording, we will first of all make sure that we use CloudAscent to identify those customers that are most likely to start due to a migration. So Microsoft provides us tooling, provides us what we call the CloudAscent tooling to do this identification. They also provide us, from a marketing perspective, resources, content, assets. There is PMC and DMC, more on that later. PMC is the Partner Marketing Center, and DMC is actually the digital, it's actually Microsoft's marketing automation engine as a service. So if you don't have your own marketing automation software solution, you could actually leverage a SaaS solution that Microsoft provides us there under DMC. More on that later. And then from an Inspire perspective, what you will see there, and we will discuss that at length when we come to the investments, is what Microsoft calls Azure Accelerate. And actually Azure Accelerate brings together things you know from the past, like AMM, Azure Modernize and Migrate, or Azure Migrate and Modernize, and things that you might remember as Innovate applications and so on. All these things, all the assessments, the proof of value engagements that you might have been doing, the actual migration itself for which you could receive incentives, all these things have been brought under one umbrella, which is called today Azure Accelerate, including the Cloud Factory, as you will see later on. That starts already in the Inspire and Design. That's typically where we do an assessment and the proof of value engagement with our customers. And that's why I'm starting to show it here as part of Inspire and Design. Of course, let me go back. I'm not discussing that here. You could do a security envisioning workshop, more on that on the next episode. And you could, of course, do, and you must do a nicely collaboration with Microsoft, the core cell. Make sure that whatever opportunity you see there is visible to Microsoft through the Partner Center. More on that certainly in one of our next episodes. And then actually when you land the deal, and also again as part of Azure Accelerate, there is some things that you can leverage, but there is of course the cloud adoption framework, and there is of course the solution accelerators. I'm not going to discuss CAF here, that's certainly a topic for a next episode, but the solution accelerators will be covered later in this session as one of the resources that you will want to leverage to actually be successful with your customers. When you actually then realize the value, there are of course you do the deal actually, you actually have the incentives, and you have Azure Essentials. Now Azure Essentials is certainly again also one of the topics I will want to cover in a separate session. Remember that Azure Essentials also includes topics like the cloud adoption framework. And it provides you a lot of resources that you will want to use. For instance, as part of an inspiration session that you might want to organize as part of the Inspire and Design step. In Azure, there is not like in AI Business Solutions something they call an immersion experience session. That doesn't exist. You could organize that, and you would typically use the resources that are made available as part of Azure Essentials. But here it's being shown as something you use both in the realized value and the manage and optimize phase of your engagements with the customers. And there you have then the well-architectured framework. Will explain you what you will want to do once you have deployed your solution, how you can make sure that it gets better over time, and you start to even upsell stuff, make it better, make it more optimized from a cost perspective, make it more optimized from a security perspective, from an operational perspective. And there are multiple perspectives that are being discussed as part of the well-architectured framework, and it's a typical ongoing exercise that you will offer as part of an offer that you give to the customer to keep them happy in the full story. So that is related to the win formula. That's the win formula for the traditional migrations and modernizations of Windows, SQL Server, .NET applications, Linux based applications, Java applications. That's the win formula. In a way, this slide brings together a lot of information, and many of it will be covered elsewhere in this recording, and certainly in separate episodes that we'll do later. The same thing can be told related to VMware. When we talk about VMware, you might go to an IaaS solution, infrastructure as a server, or of course a PaaS solution on Azure, or you could even use the Azure VMware solution. And again, it nicely maps to the same resources that you see there. Each of them has details specific to this specific set of scenarios, the VMware opportunity scenario. So a lot of information, but I think for now it's certainly enough to explain that. To the other two solution plays, let me combine them. You will see actually almost the same. And let me zoom into the right one, because that's the one which is most importantly for most of us, the data platform. Again, you see almost the same thing, but let me spot some other things that was not on the previous one. For instance, the Fabric Analyst in a Day. That's a kind of a workshop you could do in order to inspire yourself, but most importantly, inspire your customers. Make them interested to start a Fabric, a data platform, Azure data platform project with you. And Fabric Analysts in a Day is certainly one of the interesting ones. And there you see the link. Related to the links, all the links that you will see here will be included as part of the description here below in the YouTube description. So you don't need to copy things. You could of course download the playbook and click on the links. That's certainly also a way to go. The other thing I want to zoom into are the data and AI dreams or dream demos. There you have a link. And the other one that I think you might want to check is the free 60-day trial that is available for you to leverage in a pre-sales phase, actually pre-sales in the land the deal phase. And that's an interesting one. And then of course we'll talk about a little bit more about that later, and probably this is another topic for another episode. It's the Cloud Accelerator Factory. This is something that was available already previously in a separate offering, but they also brought it into the same umbrella that is called today Azure Accelerate. I'll talk a little bit more about Factory later, but keep in mind that Factory is all about Microsoft helping you to do the delivery. So part of the deployment, part of even the migration, data migration platform, will be done by Microsoft alongside the work you do from your perspective. So you and Microsoft working together, and it's a free service. That's an interesting one. It's a free service. Keep in mind, I could have talked about Cloud Factory also as part of the other solution plays, but here it certainly also makes a lot of sense. Yeah? Voila. Clearly that is about the win formula. Then related to demand generation, it's a story that I will explain a little bit better in another section of this video. Again, related to modernize and migrate your digital estate, the focus here is not on SAP, of course. The focus here is on these two scenarios I just discussed, which is the traditional migrations and, of course, VMware migrations. And what you see here is that for that, first of all, there is again CloudAscent. CloudAscent will be discussed as part of this recording also, and was recorded in the previous episode. And there you have the link. And then for actually generating the leads, to doing your marketing activities, your online marketing activities on social, on whatever, you will want to send out emails. You will want to create gated content on your website. Microsoft helps you with that through what they call Campaign in a Box. Yeah? And there are actually two ways to use Campaign in a Box. The first one is the Partner Marketing Center, where you see the first link, allowing you to download content, both for enterprise and SMB, in this case related to migrate and modernize your estate. Actually, if you have your own digital marketing automation platform, you still need content, and that's what is Microsoft providing you here. And also related to VMware, there is a link. I don't have an aks.ms link for that, and there you have the link for VMware opportunity. Learn more about that in this YouTube video about Microsoft Partner Marketing Campaigns, which explains you how to leverage all that and how it works. The same thing for AI apps and agents. Remember, focus there from a Microsoft perspective is most importantly ISVs. But again, you have the CloudAscent to identify your customers and to actually generate the leads. You have then also these assets, these marketing assets that you will find on the partner portal through the links I'm sharing with you there. And the same YouTube video makes sense here. And for the data platform, I would say the same story. Indeed, there is CloudAscent, learn about it. And I've included here the Microsoft Learn link. So for CloudAscent, you will find multiple interesting resources. Microsoft Learn has a very interesting set of pages explaining what CloudAscent is, so that I certainly recommend. And then from a content perspective, for both enterprise and SMB, you'll find a lot of assets, email templates, white papers that you might want to use as part of your gated content in both PMC, and you could actually use the DMC Marketing on Demand engine of Microsoft to actually start to run your own campaign without having to invest yourself in any product marketing automation platform. That's what they show you here. The second link is, I think, the most important one for the data people. Also, that link I didn't share yet, the link related to, I did share it previously, I think, but the link related to indeed organizing in a day sessions, in this case specific to the data platform. So there you see this aks.ms link that you want to leverage. Then partner skilling, again, very nice overview. I'm not going to discuss everything in detail. I think it's quite clear how it is. You might be starting to become a partner with a designation, in this case in Migrate and Modernize. You might have it already, you might want to go for a specialization, or you have already a specialization and you want to go further in all these things. And what it shows, it's from a certification perspective. There you have the links to the exams that you typically will want to have done in your team. And then in the sales, the pre-sales and the delivery teams, you will have then indeed the sales readiness resources, the technical pre-sales, solution sales, technical solution sales readiness resources. And of course the project ready resources, the tooling, the training actually that Microsoft provides to make you successful as a partner in actually do the delivery. You'll find these kind of resources for, again, the three solution plays. The first one and the last one are probably the most important ones. And there you see always the links. Also these links here below, I'm not discussing them, but they are quite interesting because that's really the way for you to subscribe, to receive newsletters related to training on a monthly basis. So that's certainly something I also recommend for you to make to check out. Whew. So this is a lot, and probably this is the most complex slide with the most information behind it. In this slide already you see a lot of things for which I will be organized, record actually future episodes to go in much more detail later. Same thing here for software development companies, ISVs. I'm not going to discuss that with much detail. You'll see 4 pages in the playbook, and it actually discusses the resources that you have available in the build and the publish, the grow and the differentiate, with all kinds of links that you want to leverage, all kinds of incentives that Microsoft provides ISVs to actually start building solutions that embed or infused with AI and starting to deploy solutions that use the AI platform of Microsoft. Microsoft has all kinds of hero offers, incentives basically, for which that reward you as an ISV, as a software development company, to be successful. So I think this is certainly interesting. Even if you are system integrators, it is something to look at. It is something, remember what I said, companies, organizations, partners that are really also building solutions, custom solutions will even have a bigger revenue growth in this area, in this AI transformation world. Here is some more information on the figures that you have for both of these stages. So voila, this is also in the playbook. Also in the playbook is these 2 slides, and especially this one is a nice one. It's a simplified version of what I just discussed, showing you again the 3 solution areas and showing you actually all the links to PMC, DMC, CloudAscent, Cloud Accelerate, everything that we just discussed from a high level overview. And in a way it makes a lot of sense because Microsoft nicely aligned many of the toolings and the offerings and incentives in a better way in this fiscal year, and that's what is shown in this slide. And then related to co-selling, related to really making sure that you are successful together with Microsoft, especially for the managed accounts, the point here is make sure that you make your opportunities visible in Partner Center and keep them up to date, and make sure that you leverage that in your workflow you have when doing your business management for better collaboration with Microsoft. Whew. Then the strategies, or what I call the strategies. There is what I call Spark Propensity. Forget about it, because most of us will be using CloudAscent, that is created for doing exactly the same, to find identified customers and to know where to focus. We'll discuss that. There is again Campaign in the Box. Campaign in the Box, the DMC, the CMC, DMC and the PDC is also a separate page. And the co-selling, there are 3 pages about co-selling. And I think about co-selling, that's certainly another session that we want to do later in a separate episode. So I'm not going to cover that here. Now, related to SMB propensity, you will be using CloudAscent. Once more, there you see the definition. The way it works is that Microsoft will be using all kinds of signals and start to use machine learning and start to see information, insights, and help you to identify customers. And they then identified customers in one of the 3 buckets or 4 buckets. The most important buckets are these 2. So the evaluate, if Microsoft sees one of your customers in the bucket evaluate, means this customer is ready to do marketing, is ready to make sure that they learn about your solution offering, and that they become sales ready. Some of your customers might already be sales ready, and in the sales ready perspective, you will probably want to give them another way of attention. And that's the whole idea of this propensity tooling that Microsoft provides us to us, using actually artificial intelligence, using machine learning in order to be more efficient in doing the identification on the customers. And there is actually then there you see once more the links. Did I show them? Let me go back. The links here below. Okay, I forgot. Well, these links, no, there are no links. The point here is you can actually download as a partner this Excel file, because it's an Excel file, in the Partner Center. That's the first one. And if you're an indirect partner, you can actually talk to your PDM and even get Power BI, a Power BI solution to see it. The call to action to that perspective is go to the CloudAscent akm.ms link that I'm providing you here. Also remember the link I showed you with Microsoft Learn. Download the Excel file I just talked about, and make sure that then you use the campaign resources that you see also in this link to actually use, to target your marketing campaigns to actually the marketing ready customers, and that's what they show you. Also, these links are here below and are the ones I think that you will want to remember to be successful. Then campaign in a box, actually that's what I just talked about. That's the resources that Microsoft provides us, the ready to use resources to use in your own marketing automation software or service. And actually, if you don't have one, you could always use what they call the DMC, the Digital Marketing Center on Demand. That's the brand Microsoft uses. It's the name of their free to use marketing automation platform to run your marketing campaigns using actually the resource that you'll find in the Partner Marketing Center. So that's actually something to find out. Quite interesting. Remember the YouTube video that I mentioned? That's certainly something to watch to learn on how to do all that. Phew. Wow, we have been covering a lot, and stay here, don't go away. We still need to do a few things, not so much, so most of it is done already. Now the investments is actually a little bit repeat of what I said, but with a little bit more detail related to the investments. And actually let me start with these two pages. The first one is for specialized partners, and the second one is for partners that don't have a specialization but have a solution partner designation based on the SMB track. Now, the left ones are the ones that are in the playbook, and the right ones are the ones I created myself. Let me start with this one, for the specialized partners, and let me build it up. So the way it works, so we discuss the three most important solution plays. The core, Migrate and Modernize solution play, the data platform related one, and the AI apps agents and the developer. Now there is also the core Migrate plus MDC, and MDC is Microsoft Defender for Cloud. So if you do a migration and you bring Microsoft Defender for Cloud in the mix, you'll see that you'll get a 50% extra incentive. That's why it's being shown here. And then these three other ones, quite important, like VMware is one of them, but certainly also Virtual Desktop, and indeed SAP are there. And the point here is, remember that for all these opportunities, for all these scenarios, under that scenario, we always use the same incentives framework, and that's why what they actually are going to show here. So in the Inspire and Design, which is pre-sales of course, for specialized partners, and remember that only for specialized partners you will leverage Azure Accelerate to do the assessments and to do the proof of value engagement. In the past, the assessment is not new. The proof of value was not new. You could receive money for it in the past as a specialized partner, but there were separate engagements. They brought them together as one single engagement under the umbrella of Azure Accelerate. And you can get up to $25 per seat. I don't remember actually, per seat for that. Keep that in mind. And then, of course, in the context of Empower, the actual transaction, there is the CSP incentives, which will be one of the very next episodes. We'll discuss all the CSP incentives, all the Azure CSP incentives, but also the security related ones and the one related to AI business solutions. That will be a separate session, but certainly that's another bucket of actually incentives that is available to you as part of the deal you have with your customers. And then in the actually, and there you see again some information already. It's I'm not going to discuss it right now, but one of the things that is being revealed already a little bit here is that also the CSP incentives got changed a little bit in a very positive way. They made sure that growth is being rewarded much more than in the past. And that's the thing to remember. Don't think too much about what you see there, but the growth will be rewarded much more than in the past. Also for Azure, and that's certainly something to keep in mind. Now in the realized value, the post-sales, when you do the actual deployment, the migration, there is, again under the umbrella of Azure Accelerate, there is an offer, there is incentives for you to leverage. Okay? And that's, I forgot the K, I think. It's not per seat or something. It's 25K maximum for the Inspire and Design. So the face and up to 175K US dollar in the realized value. That's the actual deployment. Now what you see here also below, the factory, the cloud factory, that's actually Microsoft also doing part of the work, the migration and deployment work, where you say part of the work we allow Microsoft to do and we do the other one, so we collaborate with Microsoft and you don't need to pay for it. So it's not an incentive where you receive money, but it's an incentive where Microsoft does part of the work and you need to do less work in a way, and it allows you to optimize your the P&L of your delivery organization. Now watch now in the slide, so it's a zero cost offer, that for SMB track solution partner designated partners, the part of Azure Accelerate in the pre-sales phase, where you will do an assessment or even proof of value exercise with the customer, you still can do it, of course, and you will want to do it. Microsoft provides you very interesting, valuable resources that are free of charge for you available to use them, but you will not be rewarded for that. You need the specialization to get rewarded for that kind of work. But then again, it's interesting for you to know that it exists. All the other things are the same. There is no difference. There is no difference. Only for, of course, in the max money that you can get in deployment. Typically, the projects are also much smaller. And also, there is nothing for VMware and there is nothing for SAP, as you can see here. Voila. That being said, so keep these two. So the left ones is the ones that you will see in the playbook, and the right ones is my version to make it more colorful and easier to understand. A little word on Azure Accelerate. Actually, it's actually what I said. It's one umbrella where they bring together under one brand all the offers, as they are being called, the incentives, both for AMM, Azure Migrate and Modernize, and the innovation that was it innovation? I forget the name, something with innovation ops, I don't know, you know what I mean. And the offers got simplified, so they clearly have a very logical, nicely aligned structure with conditions, so it got much more easy to understand how to claim your money and when to claim your money. There will be less confusion about how to use these incentives. And indeed, the Cloud Accelerate Factory, the offering where Microsoft does do part of the work, is being included in this one single brand that we call Azure Accelerate. And also, VMware migrations is part of Azure Accelerate. So also for VMware Accelerators, there are incentives. That's why I was a little bit confused with the previous slide. But I'll come back on that for sure in a more deep dive session on Azure Accelerate later. And then regarding the assessment and the proof of value, that was in the past two separate things. In the pre-sales phase, they were brought together in one single offer, for which, as a specialized partner only, you get rewarded. So keep that in mind. For the rest, well, simple slide, simple page also in the playbook explaining that in the left one and pre-sales, it's typically always partner nominated. There is also field nominated where Microsoft does do the nomination and involves you. But typically we focus on the first one. In pre-sales, it's about what I explained, and only for specialized partners as the proof of value and the assessment of the current environment. You could still do it, but there is no funding for that. And on the post-sales, you see the factory is included there, and it's always the factory people at Microsoft and yourself working together. And that's also part of the incentive. It's also part at the end of the day of the investment Microsoft is doing there. Some figures, again, will want to focus on the extra small t-shirt size, as Microsoft loves to call it. So the project size should be at least 5K. The average deal size is 10K typically. And you can see that there is this NA not available, so the Azure and Accelerate pre-sales offer, so the assessment and the POV. For that one, you will not get rewarded for the small opportunities. That's what I explained. Typically, even if you're a specialized partner, you will not get rewarded for that. But even, so even as a specialized partner, the project size needs to be at least of the t-shirt size 15K. That's what is being shown here. And then you see the rewarding for each of these exercises that you will want to do for extra small. Okay. And then once more, some information on how we measure the performance. That's also new. There are some extra conditions that make sense. First of all, for the pre-sales exercise, Microsoft will check on a monthly and 12-month rolling window whether you have been actually successful with all your pre-sales work. And we want to see a 3-to-1 ratio in order for Microsoft to give you the money. So even if you are a specialized partner and you do assessments and proof of value exercises with customers, Microsoft will want to see a 3-to-1 ratio, success ratio, in order to actually pay out the money, actually, the incentive. And for post-sales, a little bit the same logic. Microsoft will want to see a 60% attainment for the Azure consumed revenue targets over a rolling window of 12 months in order to give you the offer as discussed in the previous slide. So again, a lot of information, and again, one of the future episodes will actually go into a lot more detail on this topic going forward. There are a lot of other slides that help you to bring over the message. I'm not going to discuss any of them actually, only this one, because this one is actually a very nice single slide overview of all the information we just saw in one slide. It shows you actually all the information both for a specialized partner and in this case for the non-specialized partner that got their solution as a partner designation through the SMB track, and there you see actually the solution place for which you will get incentives. That's the story. Voila, almost there. The Build Your Practice, again, a few pages in the playbook on Build Your Practice. First of all, this very high-level slide, which is all about making sure that you become a Microsoft partner through the Microsoft AI Cloud Platform program. It actually is a given, I think. You have a slide on that topic. Then they also explain you why you will want to achieve a designation and why at the end of the day you will probably most importantly will want to achieve one or more specialization which will give you access to resources. They also show you here access to a partner forum that I'll show you later as the last slide in this episode. Now, the MAICPP program, it's not new to you. You know that there is these benefit packages. There is this launch benefits, the core benefits, and expanded benefits. So if you don't have yet any designation, partner designation, you will typically start by buying one of these packages. once you have a designation, and one of the things I like about the launch benefits is that it also includes the Power Apps and the Power Automate. That's new, but it was introduced already last fiscal year, but most of us have not received it yet. It will only be available at renewal time of your launch benefits this fiscal year. That's something to keep in mind. That's something that I myself like a lot. And then once you have a designation, you could still buy any of these packages, but as a partner with a designation, you can actually buy these packages, which bring you much more value to each of these lines that you see there. And once you have a specialization on top of that, you get even more software and services and credits in Azure than you got just as a partner with a designation. And why would you go for a designation? First of all, to stand out, to make clear to your customers that you are actually ready to help them as one of their best options. It also provides you multiple attainment paths. It's that context that Microsoft typically lists the SMB track that you know about, I hope. There is also the fact as part of the flexibility paths. The flexibility is that also the upskilling will give you extra points to get to the designation. That's quite interesting. And once you are there, you will want to go for a specialization, and you have specializations in multiple topics. And the most important reason why you will want to attain a specialization is that many of the incentives, investments that we discussed are only available once you are having a specialization. Keep that in mind. That's probably one of the most important reasons to go for. There is this benefits guide that you can download on this link that explains you in much more detail what the benefits are, how to attain them, and so on. So it's a nice download. And one page, in this case, just about the solution play, Migrate and Modernize, probably the most important one for most of us. It shows you actually a nice list of all the specializations. Like the first one, probably for many of us might be very interesting, and for sure also the second and the last one, I think, is a very important one. All right, and this last page, and also I think my last slide, is all about this partner community forum, partner forum. To be honest, this was actually completely new to me. So there is a link there to opt in. It's a form that you need to fill out, and it gives you access. I haven't experienced it yet myself, so I don't know much about it, but it's clearly some Teams hosted environment where you can talk on a monthly basis, I think, with colleagues, but most importantly with Microsoft specialists on being successful. Voila, this was an extra long session, and I almost forgot. I have still some few slides about new resources. One of the most interesting resources that I've seen in the playbook is the gold standard accelerators. What is the gold standard accelerators? And here you see a list of all accelerators, the gold standard accelerators, which are available on GitHub. It's all kind of resources, blueprints at the end of the day, that you will want to use as part of your proof of concept exercises. If you want to build if you want to do a proof of value exercise, for instance, with the customer in the pre-sales, the customer will want to build a proof of concept, and that's what you will use for the gold standard accelerators. Actually part of the solution accelerators, for which I already shared with you the link previously. Not to confuse this, because I was confused, with the deployment accelerators. And the deployment accelerator is typically what you use as part of the actual deployment in a runtime, for production environment. It's typically what you do, which is nicely aligned with the cloud adoption framework. We talk about the landing zone accelerators here. And also there you will find a list of all kinds of landing zones, also more and more specific to data projects and to AI projects that you will want to leverage to make sure that you have a sound foundation that is nicely aligned to the best practices that Microsoft documents in its architecture center, in the Azure Architecture Center to make sure that you actually be successful. And I did create this nice slide. It's not part of the Partner Playbook to make sure that you understand what the difference is to the gold standard accelerator and the deployment accelerators. The first one is really for pre-sales, the second one is really for production environments. And that's, well, interesting, one of the many resources that is available. Huh? Voila, this was it again. This was a very long recording, a very long quick bite on purpose. I wanted to give one session which brings everything together related to Azure in one recording in one episode. In one of the next sessions, in multiple ones, we'll go in a lot of more detail in shorter sessions for each of the topics we discussed today. The next session actually will be about another playbook, the playbook, the last one on the page related to security, and will be available somewhere by the end of next week. So stay tuned. Make sure that you download actually, not download, but that you subscribe actually to this channel to get notified about all next sessions. And once more, thank you very much, Ingram, SmartWorks, TD Synnex, also Arrow, Copaco, and Clear Media for making these sessions possible. Thank you all, and thank you, dear community. See you in the next session.